Happy Friday! Oh my God, happy Friday! It's Friday. It's Friday. It's Friday. Meowing! Gotta just listen. Oh, for the first hour, headed to the store. We'll be listening happily, though. I hope so, Meowing Star. Good morning, my darling. How are you? I am, Neil says, I'm pro Google Awake and Bake. Yeah, I love the Wake and Bake. I love that. WAB. Welcome to the WAB. I'm Lolo. Hiya, Neil. How you doing, love? J Rance is in the house. My girl. Oh, I'm so excited. And I just can't hide it. But I'm gonna hide it. But I'm still excited. J Rance. You know why? I'm so excited. Anyway, I can't talk about it. But anyway. Hi, Grace Lisa. How are you? You can tell I'm in a better mood today, huh? Yeah, Wake and Bake. Yeah, it's. I like it better than WNB, actually. I like WAB. I think that's a good, like, you know, that's a good, like, kind of abbreviation. We can call it WAB. WAB. Welcome to the WAB. Anyway, welcome to Wake and Bake, aka WAB. I'm Lolo. And I've already been up for a minute, so you know what I was singing this morning? Will the Circle Be Unbroken? That's a weird song. Have you guys ever read the lyrics to that song? The World Wide Web. Yeah, exactly. www. I guess I should start well, I don't have any websites anymore. I actually shut down my website in case you didn't know. So, I mean, not that anyone ever went there, but that's why I shut it down. You know what? You try things. If they work, great. If they don't, well, then you got to kind of cut your losses and get moving on to the next. But so I just want to sing this song. I was standing by my window on a cold and cloudy day when I saw the hearse come rolling for to carry my mother away. Oh, will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. Well, I went back, home was lonely, for my mother, she was gone. And all my family, there was crying, for our home felt sad and alone. Oh, will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. This is where it gets weird. Undertaker, undertaker, won't you please drive slow? For that lady you are hauling, Lord, I hate to see her go. Oh, will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? Oh, there's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. I just didn't ever know the lyrics to that song. Wow. It was kind of crazy. Mama sang bass. I love that song. Okay, my dad and I used to sing that song. But Papa sang bass, Mama sang tenor. Me and little Junior joined right in there. I love that song. You never heard By and By? That's an old hymn. Will the circle be unbroken? That's an old church song, I think. I definitely love singing bluegrass. I absolutely love singing bluegrass, and I would do it 100%. You never heard that? That's so funny. Oh, thanks, Jay. Neil and glue. Mama sang, Papa sang bass, Mama sang tenor. Me and little Junior joined right in there. That's a great song. Papa sang bass. I don't know. Here we go. I'm doing it because fucking Daddy sang bass. God damn it. My dad and I used to sing this fucking song all the time. Wait, now I gotta make sure. Daddy sang bass, mama sang tenor. Me and little brother would join right in there. Singing seems to help a troubled soul. One of these days, and it won't be long, I'll join them in a song. I'll rejoin them in a song. I'm gonna join the family circle at the throne. Yee-haw! Yeah, my dad and I would sing that. He loved it when I did Pop Daddy sang bass. Mama sang tenor. He would always do the mama sang tenor. Oh, Papa. I love my Papa. He was such a good guy. He was so fun. Anyway, good morning. Oh my God, this isn't like, let's go down memory lane. Who played spoons? I don't know. Me and little Junior join right in there. My little brother, I guess, join right in there. Check out the tent revival sometimes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, tent revivals. Yeah, it's an old-timey song, actually, for sure. Hi, Teresa. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Yeah, my family's kind of somewhat, not very, well, that's not true. My brothers play guitar really beautifully, and my sister was a singer. Like, she was a torch singer in, kind of local clubs for a long time. So I think, we've definitely got that part of us. Old-timiness is an op. Yeah, exactly. It's not real. It's not real. Yeah, Teresa, you remember that song. What do you think about Melania's speech? I have a lot of thoughts about Melania's speech, Jim. I have a ton of thoughts. I think it has to do with Paolo Zampoli's wife, or ex-wife, Amanda. What the fuck's her name? I don't know. Amanda something. Amanda, please. That's what it always makes me think of. Amanda, please. Remember that show on Nickelodeon? Was it on Nickelodeon or Disney? I can't even remember. Yeah, so here's what I think. I mean, I'll give you the short version of what I think, although that doesn't really matter what I think, but it is my show, so I guess I'll tell you. What I think is that there's so here's the deal. Here's what's happened. Hug and kiss, yeah. Amanda, hug and kiss. Yeah, exactly. That's who it is. Amanda, please. No, so this woman is going through this woman is Amanda. God, what the fuck is her name? God damn it. Fuck. Paolo Zampoli's, Paolo Zampoli has been rumored to be heavily involved in introducing Melania to, yeah, I don't think these stories have her name. But anyway, she's going through a custody battle with Paolo, okay? Paolo is a big friend of Donald Trump's, right? Paolo had her deported, right? She lost custody, that's right. Paolo had her deported, and it's a custody battle, right? So Paola is saying, listen, bitch, I'm going to spill everything. You think that you're going to hide from the truth? So Paolo's wife, Amanda, is basically saying to Melania, stop lying, or else I'm going to tell everything and probably help me get my kid back, right? Like help me get my child. So frankly, I'm in camp Amanda. Like, come on, Amanda, tell us all. In fact, you should have before. Like, it shouldn't be, I understand you want custody of your child, and that actually is one of the most important things in the world. However, in addition to that, you could really help actually promote justice if you spoke about what you do know. Because frankly, I think it isn't the survivors that necessarily need to testify under oath unless they want to, all right? But, bitch, Melania should testify under oath. Hillary Clinton did. Okay? So why don't we have Melania testify, since she felt compelled to go out and actually bring up Epstein again in the middle of a war? So again, this is either a self-inflicted wound or 5D chess. I'm pretty much guessing the self-inflicted wound, because I don't think 5D chess is really in the cards for these folks. So I think that's what's happened, is that there may be more stuff that comes out. Hi, Jane. There may be more stuff that comes out about the Melania's relationships with Epstein and Maxwell. There's already a little bit that came out. Obviously, there was that email that was sent from Melania. It was not a reply. It was sent from Melania to Ghislaine, and it said it was very friendly. And when are you going to be on the island? And when are we going to get together in West Palm? And blah 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 blah. Right. So this is the this is the fact that Melania actually and Michael Wolff, who's an idiot, right? Michael Wolff is an author. He interviewed Jeffrey Epstein for years. This is the person that Trump is trying to blame, saying that Mike Wolff and Jeffrey Epstein tried to set him up and all this bullshit, which is all bullshit. Michael Wolff is a piece of trash, by the way, so I don't really have any love for him, but he does have all this information. He's another one who could release the information and stop just writing books that make him a ton of money. So he's profiting off of the backs of survivors of rape. I don't really get that, but okay, here we are. So I think that we need Michael Wolff to testify in front of Congress. I mean, like, I think there needs to be justice. And the fact that Melania would push the survivors to the front and say they should testify under oath means that what they're actually doing is putting a target on the backs of those women. Because the powerful men that raped them have the power to crush them or to kill them. Oh, Ungaro, thank you so much, Lucy's mommy. I love you. Thank you so much. Oh, she was 16 when she met Zampoli. Oh, interesting. So she was part of that probably trafficking type thing too. Abuse at minimum. That's right. Amanda Ungaro, thank you so much. Lucy's mommy, it's so good to see you. Carrie, it's so good to see you. Good morning. Good morning. So I think that this is just more of the dark secrets of a regime that is absolutely, yes, he did. Yeah, he did. I did see it. So yeah, that's what I think. That's what I think about Melania. I think she's dumb, and I think she's in trouble, and she knows it, and so she was trying to get ahead of it, and all she did was make it worse and throw gasoline on a fire. So good job, everybody. We have to stop assuming that this regime actually knows the right things to do, right? Like, we actually have to make sure that we know what's happening. Wolf Melania, his ex-girlfriend, was given $100 million in his will, is nicknamed the Inspector. Oh God, an Ungaro, yeah. So testify. Yeah. I mean, tell us everything you know. I think Alex Acosta should be brought in to testify. I think there's a ton of people that would make sense to tell the Congress what they know about Jeffrey Epstein. Where's Leon Black? Where's Leon Black? Where's Steve Bannon? Yes, good one, Jane. Where's Steve Bannon? He's a big... Hi, Shormaine. How are you, love? Please, we're on the right side of the sod, yes. Yeah, so that's what I think. Jamie Dimon, I would love to... Jess Staley, get that motherfucker over here. Get that motherfucker over here. Jess Staley knows a ton of shit about what happened with Jeffrey Epstein, and he's over in the UK facing some charges of his own for corruption or something. I don't know what. But he was the head of whichever financial firm. I can't remember now which one it was, but I don't know if it was Goldman. No, it wasn't Goldman. It was probably the other one. Anyway, JP Morgan. Jess Staley's already in trouble for this. Get his ass over here. Jamie Dimon claims he doesn't know anything about it because he came in after Epstein was arrested. Well, bullshit. You do know about it because I know what happens in a corporation when you're going to hire a CEO. I've been involved in that. And guess what they do? They vet those people like motherfuckers. They absolutely vet those people like motherfuckers. And they spill the secrets of the corporation to the actual CEO that comes in. So if he wasn't there when shit was happening, he definitely was there after and knew what was happening and could have said something about it. But he didn't. Because he's part of the same machine that is trying to profit off the backs of all of us. So that's my thing on Jamie Dimon. He's a piece of shit. Speaking of pieces of shit, off topic, but FYI, Devo will be at Coachella. Boop boop. We could watch that. Oh, we could watch that. That'd be tonight. Oh, we're actually gonna be in trivia tonight. Damn. Oh well, maybe we'll watch it another time. You know what I can do, honey? I can tee that up, Max. I can tee that up for the music portion for tomorrow night's movies. We can watch the Devo performance before the movie tomorrow night. Let's do that. So I'll remind everybody that we're going to do that. But yeah, didn't Zampoli have his ex? Yes, Teresa. Yes. Yeah, and this is coming from the custody battle. I don't know if I have the tweet that she sent. I think I do somewhere. God damn, I have too much stuff. I can already tell. I can already tell, yeah. Melania. And we watched her movie last night. It was terrible. I mean, it wasn't even funny bad. It wasn't even funny bad. I don't know, but you know what we can see, Glue Stick, is we can see the rockets go over like Southern California to the south of us. We can see the trail of like whatever satellite launch they do or something. It looks like a meteor shower. It's really weird. It's disturbing. It's disturbing. Oh, are we watching the splashdown? When is the splashdown? How embarrassing. I don't even know. I don't know. You know what I'm really mad about? That crew of astronauts is too MAGA for me. I'm sorry. I'm going to say it. I'm going to be spicy. I'm going to be super spicy on it. But I think they're too MAGA for me. 8:07 p.m. Oh, we could do that. Because that'll... Oh, no, it won't. It'll be right before... right before trivia. Yeah, 8:07 p.m. ET is what they're targeting. Here, I'll show you. Hello, is it me you're looking for? I'm a daddy booty bye. There's a live shot. Live shot. Yeah, live shot. Yeah. It's a live shot. Yeah. Anyway, Splashdown is targeted for 8:07 p.m. ET. So we can watch it in, I'll put it on in Discord. I'll put it on in Discord. Even the Canadian guy, yeah, he's probably fine. I don't think the Canadian guy, I'm not counting him in that. But all the other people are just like ultra MAGA, kind of like, oh, Mr. President, oh, this is so great. Oh, and, you know, here's the other thing. I'm sorry. Yeah, the Starlink chain in the sky. That's it. Yep. What was I going to say? Oh, the fact that this is like to scope out the moon, and somebody said like it's our moon and stuff like that, and I'm like, that's fucking weird, okay? Stop claiming like celestial bodies. Like, keep your hands off celestial bodies too, okay? My celestial body, my choice. So no, America, you don't get to own the moon or any of that shit, okay? Like, stop. Yeah, ours like the U.S. He said our. I don't know what our mean. Maybe it's Earth. It could be Earth. But you got to know that there's probably... I don't know. I have this weird thing about what we're doing to the moon. I don't think we're doing... It's governed by treaties already. Oh, excellent. Well, then it's not our moon. Anyway, it just kind of like ticked me off. That's all. Okay, I'm right. All right. Okay. Yeah, it was weird. I saw it before I knew what it was. Oh, yeah, those Starlink things, they're scary. It woke us up. It woke us up one early morning, and we were like, what? Anyway, so yeah, that's what's happening with Artemis. Artemis! I would like to talk about the Hungarian election coming on Sunday. And I was listening to Pacifica Radio again this morning. KPFA, highly recommend. Great place to get your news. Really good. I was listening to KPFA this morning, and they had this interview with a woman that knows about Hungary and knows about Gorka. Hi, gal. Everything is stupid. Everything is really, really dumb. Okay, Neil, you claim the sun for the province of Quebec. Done. Congratulations. I do feel like something big. Well, it's always big. Yes, absolutely. Pacifica Radio, KPFA, absolutely wonderful. You can get it. You can actually get it online too. You can go right to KPFA and listen. This is the Democracy or Now because it was an interview on Democracy Now with Amy Goodman. So I'm kind of hoping that this is the interview. I really hope it is. Let me make sure. Oh, check back for the full transcript. Oh yeah, let me let me read this because this is the good part. Amid strains in U.S.-European relations, the Trump administration has worked to strengthen ties with Hungary and its far-right leader, Prime Minister Viktor Orban, who is facing his biggest challenge in 16 years. With just days to go before the parliamentary elections, Orban's Fidesz party is trailing the center-right pro-EU TISA party, led by Piotr Magyar. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance traveled to Budapest this week and appeared alongside Orban to openly campaign for his re-election, as did Marco Rubio. Yeah, we get Uranus. That's right. The lounge claims Uranus. Yes, I do love it the most. I'll take really good care of it. I will definitely take care of Uranus. I will. I love that planet. I need a Uranus t-shirt. I need another t-shirt that has Uranus on it. Okay. Anyway, the election is really crucial, not just for Hungary, but for international right wing, says Kim Lane Shepley, professor of sociology and international affairs at Princeton. This woman is so sharp. I hope we can listen to the whole interview. There's been a lot of Americans signaling that the U.S. would really love to have Viktor Orban reelected. The problem is the Hungarian people don't seem to agree. Shepley also discusses the role of Sebastian Gorka, a top counterterrorism official in the Trump administration who has long-standing ties to the far right. I gotta find out if I still have that. I still have that DM exchange with Gorka. Hold on. Oh shit, it's on my fucking blocked account. Damn. Oh, I'm so sad. I wonder if I have, hold on, let me just see if I have it on my phone. It's on my blocked account that I won't take the tweet down about Pete Hegseth drinking himself to death. And so they won't give me my account back. Okay, hold on. Don't leave me. Gorka. Do I have it? Oh, please let me have it. Oh! No. Shit. Okay, hold on. Oh, come on. Let me have kept it. Damn it. Do I not have it on here? Well, I do have this. Except Gorka blocked me. Oops. God, why doesn't it... I'm shocked that it doesn't, like... Why isn't it... Seb Gorka blocked me. Anyway, but no, I have this great DM exchange with him. God damn it. Oh, man. The fuck? How would I... Oh, here we go. Oh, I do have it! Okay. Don't highlight the name. Fuck you, Apple. Okay, so I had put up a reply to Sebastian Gorka that included a Jeffree Star GIF. If you don't know who Jeffree Star is, he's a horrible person that runs cosmetic companies, and he's very annoying. Anyway, I can't even remember what the context of the tweet was, but then I replied with that GIF, thinking as usual nothing would happen. Well, then bitch slid into my DMs, then blocked me. So he blocked me before I could answer. Let's see if I can get this. Damn it. Oh wait, is that? Anyway, I'll read to you what it says. Aw, did someone hurt icky snowflakes feels? What a loser. Ha ha ha, laughing emojis. And then immediately, you can no longer send direct messages for this person. Oh, gal. Roger Stone. Gorka is a porka and a dorka. Sorry, not sorry. Gorka is a warmonger. Gal sent me Roger Stone's email or post about Gorka. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, what's his name? Gorka. He hates me. Anyway, but here's the thing. He's very important when it comes to Hungary. He's Hungarian, right? Let's remember that. He is actually Hungarian. So let me see if this, I hope.
This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org.
Excellent.
I'm Amy Goodman. We turn now to the one country in Europe where the transatlantic relationship has only gotten stronger under the Trump administration, Hungary. But that relationship is about to be tested because as Hungary goes to the polls Sunday, far-right Prime Minister Viktor Orban is facing his biggest challenge in 16 years. Polls show the center-right party, led by Péter Magyar, with a significant lead over Orban's party in the days before Hungary's parliamentary election. The latest polls show Orban's party has a support of 39% of decided voters, 52% back his opponent's party. 25% of voters said they're undecided. Orban's been prime minister of Hungary since 2010, making him the European Union's longest-serving leader. Earlier today, he accused his political opponents of trying to seize power in a video message posted to social media.
Our opponents will stop at nothing to seize power. They are colluding with foreign secret services, threatening our followers with violence, and calling out election fraud with fabricated accusations even before the election. They are organizing demonstrations and chaos even before your votes have been counted. Let us speak clearly. This is an organized attempt to question the decisions of the Hungarian people through chaos, pressure, and international discredit.
On Tuesday, that's U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance traveled to Budapest, where he appeared alongside Prime Minister Orban and openly campaigned for his re-election.
Hi, Stephanie and Dan.
Will you stand against the bureaucrats in Brussels?
Did you hear that? Will you stand against the bureaucrats in Brussels? Our vice president said, will you stand against the bureaucracy in Brussels? And he doesn't mean bureaucracy. He means pro-democracy. And you can fix the EU. You know what? We can have that argument. This is not the way to fix it. This is election interference right here. Anyway, great. Please, this is such a good interview.
Will you stand for sovereignty and democracy? Will you stand for Western civilization? Will you stand for freedom, for truth, and for the God of our fathers? Then, my friends, go to the polls in the weekend. Stand with Viktor Orban.
For more, we're joined from New Haven, Connecticut, by Kim Lane Shepley. She's professor of sociology and international affairs in the Princeton School of Public and International Affairs. Her research examines the rise and fall of constitutional government with a focus on Hungary. Professor, welcome back to Democracy Now! Why is Hungary so critical? And what is the U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance doing there? He's now headed off to Pakistan to lead the negotiations with Iran.
Yeah, so yes, this election is really crucial, not just for Hungary, but for the international sort of right wing. Viktor Orban has controlled Hungary for 16 years. He's become a dictator, though he doesn't like to call himself that. It's crucial to have a state in Europe with the resources of a state backing sort of the undermining of the European Union, backing the kind of policies that Donald Trump has had. So it's not surprising that the Trump administration has been strongly backing Orban. J.D. Vance's visit this week was the second visit by a high-level Trump administration official. Remember that Marco Rubio went to Budapest right after the Munich Security Conference. So there's been a lot of American signaling that the U.S. would really love to have Viktor Orban be reelected. The problem is the Hungarian people don't seem to agree.
This is Hungarian Prime Minister Orban speaking to reporters during a joint news conference with Vice President J.D. Vance this week.
Vice President, my dear friend, Vice President, it has been 35 years since a Vice President last visited Hungary, and we have not had such a high-ranking guest from the United States for 20 years. 20 years is a long time between friends. With the election of President Trump, a golden age has dawned in our relations. As we have just looked at 2025, we see it was a year of records in economic cooperation.
So that's Prime Minister Orban, who is standing next to J.D. Vance at this joint news conference. Why is Hungary, led by Orban, so important for Europe right now, particularly the right in Europe? And what would it mean if he loses? And why would J.D. Vance care about that?
Yeah, so Viktor Orban, first of all, is so far behind in the polls that even his rigged election system will probably not save him this time. And it's causing some panic in the right wing in Europe because once Orban consolidated power in Hungary, he then spent a huge amount of Hungarian money, we think up to 1% of total Hungarian GDP, on an effort to influence and to build a far-right network across Europe. So in the last European elections, for example, Orban's Fidesz political party was the primary advertiser on behalf of far-right parties across Europe. And as you know, those European elections tilted quite heavily in favor of the far right. Orban came out of those elections not only with a substantial victory in Hungary, but he was actually able to cobble together the third largest party in the European Parliament, which has really tilted European policy in favor of the right. So he's the kingmaker in Europe in terms of building far-right cohesion, and the Trump administration has been echoing Orban's language. In fact, if you look at the national security strategy that the U.S. released back in the fall, it could almost have been written by Orban. The language is exactly the same. And the code word for the far right now is the Patriots in Europe, because the Patriots is the name of Orban's European-wide political party.
I wanted to ask you about a very interesting figure in the Trump administration. That's Sebastian Gorka, Trump's deputy assistant to the president, senior director for counterterrorism. He advised Trump in his first term, but was pushed out after the Forward revealed he once had ties to a Hungarian far-right Nazi-allied group and that he supported an anti-Semitic and racist paramilitary militia in Hungary while he served as a Hungarian politician. Gorka is Hungarian.
Yeah, so Gorka's actually a complicated figure. He was raised in Britain by far-right parents, and in fact, the far-right organization that he supported is actually not neo-Nazi, but Nazi. His father was a member of a Nazi-aligned group when the Nazis were actually dominating Europe. When Gorka showed up at Trump's first inauguration, he wore not only the insignia, but also the uniform of the original Nazi paramilitary organization. After that was discovered, he then got marginalized. He got kicked out of the White House, but he's been still aligned with Trump forces. So now Gorka has come back as counterterrorism director in the White House. But, you know, Gorka has this interesting history in Hungary. After the Berlin Wall came down, he moved from Britain to Hungary. He worked in the Hungarian defense establishment, and he got to know the Hungarian government very well. He then briefly founded a rival political party to Orban's political party when Orban was out of power in the 2000s. And then when there was a kind of discussion between, shall we say, Gorka and Orban, Gorka agreed to dissolve his party, and the people from Gorka's political party went straight into Orban's party, where they still are now. Okay, so Gorka has direct personal ties with Orban. So it's not surprising, and Gorka speaks Hungarian, etc. So he's the point person in the White House who has the direct contacts with the Orban team.
Thursday's New York Times had an interesting story headlined, U.S. pushes allies to chase a new terrorism target, the far left. It's a push to designate far-left and anti-fascist groups overseas as terrorist organizations and pressure those countries to investigate the groups and find links between left-wing groups abroad and Americans. The leaders of this initiative, and I'm reading from the Times right now, the leaders of this initiative, according to the piece, include Sebastian Gorka. Your final comments.
Yes. Yeah, so Gorka heads counterterrorism, so that's the weapon he's going to use. And, of course, after 9/11, there's a huge counterterrorism network and a huge set of counterterrorism resources available for going after enemies of different kinds. And what Trump is trying to do and what Orban has already done in Hungary is to start labeling, and I wouldn't even call it the far left, right? It's the entire left, as the opposition to these far-right groups. And so far, they've been using media denigration, making fun of them, trying to establish and argue for networks that aren't there. But this move to start to label any kind of group that these governments don't like, that these patriot groups in Europe don't like, as part of a far-left network is, first of all, false, that the network doesn't exist. But second of all, it's a way of trying to weaponize these resources that governments have against the left so as to get them out of the way so the right has a better chance of coming to power in European governments. And yes, the U.S. is entirely behind this. The U.S. is also talking about setting up, they've destroyed Voice of America and the other kind of global networks the U.S. used to have, but now they're talking about actually building in Europe a kind of, Fox News for Europe, in order to, again, give the far right a push. So this is all playing out on the political field. Orban is central to this because right now he controls the state and state resources. But after Sunday, I think he's actually going to be out of power, and then we'll see.
Kim Lane Shepley, I want to thank you so much for being with us, professor of sociology and international affairs at Princeton University, specializing in the rise and fall of constitutional government with a focus on Hungary. That does it for our show.
I will link that. Oh, thank you so much, for that. That's there. I'll link this particular. I just have to get this fucking screen to work. But let me link. This is the interview link from the KPFA website, which is great because then if you want to listen to KPFA on your computer or your phone, you can do so. All right, so that's the link to the interview. I just thought that was an excellent interview. It really taught me things I didn't know. Which was great. I didn't really put Gorka or clock Gorka in any of this because I just think he's such a buffoon, but he's not a buffoon. He's literally the head of our counterterrorism. I can't even believe that. I can't even believe that. I know. Well, his days are numbered, but unfortunately, there's just he's a Nazi. He literally he wore the Nazi uniform to the first inauguration. Literally, y'all. And then got sidelined. And now he's back as director of counterterrorism. Make it make sense. This regime loves their Nazis. That's pretty much it. That's my estimation of where we're at with this. Let me just see. Okay, there's where what's that? What's that blue sky? Or that blue dot? Okay, so anyway, yeah, that's a wonderful interview. Let's see. I didn't know he was such an yeah, he's the Naziest of Nazis. He's absolutely Nazi. So I did queue up a few things for us to read today. So let me go ahead and introduce you to some of those. The first up is Neil. Neil comes to us with this little... Oh, wait. This is terrible. Hold on. I got to make this a little bigger. Whoops. Neil had a tweet or had a Blue Sky post that caught my eye. And it was from our conversation yesterday about Avignon and the Pope being threatened. Neil with an eye. Neil with an eye. That's right. Mean and nasty Canadian. No, it's you. You did it. You did it. You might enjoy this thread on Colby's bullying of the papal envoy. I just wanted to read this because this is from Claire Willett. Thank you, Neil, for sharing it. Neil with an I. Okay, so we need to talk about Cardinal Christophe Pierre and how frankly jaw-dropping it is for Mr. JD just wrote a whole book about Catholicism Vance not to know who he is. Pierre hit retirement age and stepped down last month, but for 10 years he was the apostolic nuncio to the United States. It's a sort of oddball gig in that it is both a diplomatic and religious position. He represents American Catholics to the Vatican and Vatican City as an entity to the U.S. In Vance's defense, I also didn't know what an apostolic nuncio was until 3 years ago when, quote, how do you go over your archbishop's head to speak to his manager became a question a bunch of us in Portland suddenly became interested in. Then again, I'm not a Catholic who is also vice president. Pierre is very much a Pope Francis guy, to the best of my knowledge. I don't know a ton about him, but it's not difficult to imagine he, a citizen of France and an employee of the Vatican, who absolutely does not work for or report to the U.S. government, did not take Pentagon threats well. In my heart, I know that that man was hyped beyond belief to retire. I wonder if he would have quit after that shit show meeting if he hadn't known his days dealing with the Dump administration were blissfully numbered. I hope he's vibing comfortably at some French retirement home for priests. Incredibly funny that his reaction is just standard GOP, assume the media is lying deflection, because I really don't think he wants to be trapped between Dump and the Pope even more than he already is, which means he should be asked about every single day. Make him suffer. This is from Aaron Rupar with no... okay, so this is... I guess he was asked about this.
Okay, X has been abuzz the last couple of days with the Free Press story saying that senior Pentagon officials in January, including Rich Colby, brought Cardinal Pierre into the Pentagon.
Brought who?
Cardinal Christophe Pierre into the Pentagon.
I haven't seen the story, unfortunately.
And essentially the reporting by the Free Press is that they told him that the American military has a lot of might and they can do whatever they want, and the church should get on its side. Does that message sound correct to you? Is that something you would sign off on?
So one, I with no disrespect to the Cardinal, I don't know who Cardinal Christophe Pierre is.
He's the ambassador to the Holy See and the U.S.
Oh, okay. I do. I've met him before. Sorry, I just didn't remember the name. I've never seen this reporting. I'd like to actually talk to Cardinal Christophe Pierre and, frankly, to our people to figure out what actually happened. I think it's always a bad idea to offer an opinion on stories that are unconfirmed and uncorroborated, so I'm not going to do that.
Okay, X has been abuzz the last couple of days with the Free Press story.
He doesn't know her. Remember when we tried to make a Venn diagram? Well, someone else made one for us. Fuck yeah. Yeah, like Mariah said, I don't know her. All right, let's see. Here we go. Oh, an introductory overview of Furious Minds. Furious Minds, The Making of the MAGA New Right, was released in the United States in November and will be available in the UK as of January 6th. The reception has been exciting, blah, 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 blah. I've been busier than ever. What is the MAGA New Right? I use the term MAGA New Right to describe the network clusters of thinkers, intellectuals, and activists who have gathered together since 2016 and given intellectual sustenance to Trumpism. The term New Right is tricky because it has been applied to each iteration of conservative intellectualism for the past 50 years or more, hence the MAGA qualifier. The MAGA universe is very big, and my book maintains a sharp focus on the intellectuals and ideological dimensions of the movement. Oh, that's kind of interesting. I would like to read that. The thinkers matter because they are the people who have inspired Vice President J.D. Vance and who are fellow travelers with conservative activist and Manhattan Institute senior fellow Christopher Rufo. That's right, this motherfucker. The authors of the 1776 Commission Report and of Project 2025. They provided discursive hype and legal fodder for the attack on the United States Capitol on January 6th. They've had a significant impact on right-wing culture over the last decade, from the staffers on Capitol Hill to the manosphere. If you were one of the many millions of people this summer who watched Mehdi Hassan's surrounded debate with the 20 far-right young people, then you saw some of these ideas in action there too. Before I go into more detail about the various factions, let me say something about the ideas that unify them. One of the best ways to do that is to describe what they've rejected, which is the old fusionist establishment. I just want to stop because I listened to a really interesting. I don't know. I sometimes I just listen to things that are really stupid, but they're not stupid because I'm trying to understand. Again, I come at this from a far right messaging. How does messaging get down to, And one of the things about the current schism in the MAGA world is I was watching last night the replay of a Piers Morgan debate between Dave Smith and Adam, whatever his name is. He's one of the PBD broadcasts, the Pretty Big Dicks broadcast. The guy who sells insurance, Patrick Bet David. Yeah. Anyway, he's one of his little puppets or Muppets. And so Adam decided he was going to take on Dave Smith to argue about the fact that Dave Smith was saying that the United States is a terrorist organization for all the things that they've done. And so Dave Smith is this really, really, really super libertarian guy, right? So all of his ideas are not good. Some of his ideas might sound okay, but it's only because broken clocks are right 2 times a day. So it just happens to overlap. So it's really interesting that this is all coming up, especially given the whole Candace, Tucker, Benny Johnson, Theo Vaughn, Joe Rogan, everybody's having their moment trying to figure out who they're actually going to align with. It's like it's like a hoedown. It's like a dance. It's like a Sadie Hawkins dance. You figure out who you're going to hook up with. But it is fascinating to me because I listened to this person, Dave Smith. I think is a very interesting person in the manosphere, particularly, and I think he's very influential with young voters, right? And his brand of approach is not going to be. I'm not going to agree with him on most things. Let's put it that way. But I think we should pay attention. I think particularly him and people that are focused, like Piers Morgan, his show is actually a really interesting crucible for watching who the voices are in the right. Very interesting show to watch from that standpoint. So I do tend to tune in. I haven't watched, there's 2 episodes of this debate. Adam was just like killed in the debate. He doesn't know anything intellectually, so he couldn't actually like debate. But Dave Smith is a very, very fucking interesting. Yeah, exactly. Meowing Star, Dave Smith, to me, I've got my eye on you, bitch, because I don't know. You to me are very influential, and maybe not in good ways. Very manosphere, very patriarchal. But also very let everybody do what they want. Everybody can have a gun. Everybody can do this. Everybody can do that. And DEI is dumb. I'm sure he doesn't believe in all that stuff. He doesn't believe in racism. He wants to say he probably wants to say the N word. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't. But anyway, that's the thing. And he's considered the smart one. Okay, so that's why I'm paying attention to him. I think this. Okay, Gal's saying it. I think this particular focus is going to be crucial to understand as we go forward and Trump is dismissed. We will want to know who and what is coming next. I agree. And I really, really fucking, this is going to be very interesting, Gal. I would like to read this book too. Because I think we're in the midst of some little machinations and it could fool people. That's what I'm worried about. Okay. This is what I'm worried about, is that this libertarianism, which is let them all die kind of thing, let the chips fall where they may. No, I can't imagine those guys are into international aid. And then you've got this burgeoning America First faction led by Tucker, right? And, kind of pushing that group and kind of, it's almost like you can see it forming, right? You can almost see this group kind of forming with like Tucker and Candace and Megyn Kelly and Theo Vaughn, and God knows what's going to happen with people like Aiden Ross, who's like the younger version of Joe Rogan, right? So I don't know. This is a very interesting time in MAGA messaging, in right-wing messaging, and we're going to pay attention to it on this show for sure. So anyway, all to say, this sounds like a really good book. I'm going to go ahead and include this in the, I have so much to read this morning. Smith is very isolationist, so anti-war, but for all the wrong reasons. That's my point, Meowing. Thank you for putting that in words that are more clear. I'm not saying that all the ideas might be, bad, but the methodology that libertarians want to apply to everything is not going to be something I'm going to drive with. I'm not going to be down with it. I'm just not. They're dumb. They're kind of Dunning-Kruger, where they think they know how things work. So if they break things, they think they know how to put them back together. They don't. Okay? These are the guys who were at your office who always had the blowhard kind of bullshit. Okay? They had the blowhard kind of bullshit, but when it came down to it, they do not know how to actually do things. They only know how to criticize. That's it. That's all these guys are worth. And it will fool people. It will fool center. If there are center voters, then it will fool them. And I still don't think there are center voters, but whatever. Morning, Val. How are you, darling? Bill Maher, he'll probably be part of it. But I'm going to tell you right now, this Dave Smith, Pierce Morgan, Theo Vaughn. Theo Vaughn's going to be really big. Okay, we need to watch Theo Vaughn too. And I actually have some hope for Theo in some ways, but not really, because then he ends up saying something stupid like immigration is whatever. But the new anti-Trump gang is getting scooped by libertarians and groypers. Yep. And they're all trying to figure out what to do with Nick Fuentes. That's the fascinating part, is that you see Nick Fuentes bouncing between shows. And they're all trying to figure out where he fits, because they know he has a group, right? Nick Fuentes is an influential voice. And one of the methods is where do you put him? Right? Where do you put him? Yeah, he's not really, I don't think, right and left seem to be kind of weird right now. So that's what I'm trying to say, is that there's just some players that are emerging, and that libertarianism in the way that some of these dudes express it is just not gonna, it's gonna be a mess. Anyway, I think we should watch that Manosphere documentary. Oh, thank you. Oh my God, Val, thanks. Thank you. Thank God, because if you get a really close look at my skin's in real trouble today. But nonetheless, I can't remember what I was going to say now, because I was just so distracted by the beautiful compliment that I got. I would call them libertarian populists. Yes, that's a great way to put it. So, and Steve Bannon, I think, could try and muscle his way in there. Okay, because if you've been watching Steve Bannon, which I've caught him a couple times, he's also down the kind of I don't know. Steve, I think, is trying to figure out where the fuck he is. I really think that. I think that Steve Bannon is trying to figure out what the fuck he is. Yeah. So someone's calling it, hi, Josh. Someone called it the Vance administration. Well, and I mean, I think that Vance going to Islamabad this weekend is a big sign. I'm curious as to why that move had to be made. I do think they're planning for Dump to be gone. I think he's getting more and more unhinged, and even they might, they being the donors, even the donor class might be annoyed by Dump at one point and say, okay, well, he's done what he can. Let's get him out of here. And that's fine. But I could see them actually figuring out, I mean, I don't know, the 25th Amendment it's a high bar, right? It's a very high bar, and I just don't think that it's going to be met, and these people have no will to do it. So I don't think they're going to 25th Amendment him. I think he might just have an accident, and be gone, or they say he's really dumb and he needs to, whatever. So yeah, he's just the puppet. But I do think they're planning for a Vance takeover. Oh, thank you, God. BRB bathroom. Fuck yeah. This is why I like you. You identify the players and try to foresee their moves in the chessboard. Well, and thank you for that. I don't think I do a great job, but I have a lot of really smart people too around me. And I just think this seems logical based on their past performance, right? Vance is a Nazi. He really is a white supremacist. He really is. He is way down with that. He is way down with all of that stuff. So I could see them putting, Vance in a position right now where he's going to be ready kind of to take over. They certainly have been grooming him for the MAGA crowd. They've magnified him so that he can say bullshit in a speech and everybody goes, So he's, they've tried to Trump him as much as they can. Oh, Don Trump Jr.? No, stop. I can't. Maybe he is Don Trump Jr. Anyway, so I definitely could see that happening. It'll be great from a emotional celebratory day. Yeah, Vance is going to have to fight Rubio. I don't know what's that going to be. And then what about Jared? Yeah, we've been talking about Jared too. I'm going to go ahead and link this because I also have some other little things that I want to make sure we get to. Oh, this is the thing. Gal, you shared this with me. This is the New York Times article. U.S. pushes allies to chase a new terrorism target, the far left. And that's what this woman, the professor, was alluding to in that. So let me take a look at this and see. How much? Oh, it's a long one. Okay, let me just check some other ones. I want to make sure I get through everything. This was great. I saw this morning. This is really good. This is from the European Parliament.
Mr. Orban, you are not a patriot. You are just a useful idiot of Russia and China. That's the reality. What a speech, Mr. Orban. What a speech. You say you want democracy and you brag about your majorities in the Hungarian parliament. Yet since years, you only rule by emergency decree. Are you so afraid of democracy, Mr. Orban? You say you are for national sovereignty, yet you invite Chinese policemen to surveil the people in your country. You say you want to stop migration, yet you let Russian spies into our Schengen system and call it national card. That is what you're doing. Mr. Orban, you are not a patriot. You are just a useful idiot of Russia and China. That's the reality. You say you want to fight for more economic competitiveness, yet you keep introducing new company laws and taxes to drive European competitors out of your country. You turned Hungary into a banana republic. You robbed your population and enriched your family and friends. Under your rule, Hungary has become one of the poorest and officially the most corrupt country in the EU.
Thank you.
What a fraud. What a burden for your people. Mr. Orban, please step down to make Hungary great again.
I absolutely love that. So the people in the European Parliament know exactly who Orban is, and definitely aren't going to be putting up with his bullshit. But what a mess. That's why I think that the Hungary election is kind of important. It's really kind of important for the future of Europe. Hi, Mr. Spock. How are you? Meowing Star. Val, I think he's waiting to see if he can claim being instrumental in ceasefire talks today and use that to bolster support for him using the 25th. Meowing, that sounds... But also probably working on a way to let Dump resign with dignity, handing the reins over intentionally so as not to upset MAGA hardliners. And you know why? Okay, so I can't get this out of my head. So think about what Meowing just said. All of that, just hold that in your head, but then add in Melania choosing yesterday to come out and make this declaration about Epstein that nobody was asking for. Right? I don't want to believe that everything is like, oh, cool. Thanks, Mr. Spock. I don't want to say that, everything is connected, but I think that it is. I just can't get over this Melania thing. Something is up. And maybe it's just the fact that Zampoli's ex is going to spill all the beans on her past with Epstein. That could be. I mean, or Paolo. Maybe spill her past with Paolo. So I don't know. I think that's possible, but it's just something's bothering me about this whole thing. Yeah, I think he's already pardoned himself. I'm gonna guess he learned the second time that he should pardon himself before he leaves office. I really do. I'm assuming that's already, he's got either a pocket pardon or something else that he's gonna do. Yeah, Trump's pride will not. I think they could get him to retire if the Epstein stuff, Dan, okay? If the Epstein stuff is what they want to use, is that, yeah, exactly. Thank you, BRB. One theory is that Melania is trying to throw her spouse under the bus. See, I think there's something to that, because why bring up Epstein when it hasn't been spoken about for about 40 days while we bomb the shit out of another country? Okay? Why? Why would you go ahead? Yeah, that's right, Pep. Amanda Ungaro is giving an interview with Spanish TV that's airing this weekend. We definitely need to watch that. It's too neat. Yeah, exactly. Everything's, yeah, it's just, and again, I don't think everyone's calling everyone else and going, okay, I'm going to do this now, and then you do that then, and then you do that. She was shaking, Glue Stick. She was shaking. Anyway, all to say, these things are interesting to keep an eye on. You know, obviously some of it is distraction, so we need to keep our focus on what matters. Yeah, we're deep in the distraction loops. Yeah, we are pretty stuck. Yeah. So we're going to try and pull ourselves out of that. Let's see. Oh yeah, I wanted to read this. I think I got this from Spiral Cow. I think I got that from him. Oops. Wow, this is so small. You're so small. Okay. This is a story from Futurism. Analysis finds that Google's AI overviews are providing misinformation at a scale possibly unprecedented in the history of human civilization. I'm sorry. I'm not laughing at that, but I'm just like, what? Wait, Gal made a point. They have to replace Hegseth with Driscoll first. Oh. They used Iran to distract from Epstein. Now Melania Epstein to distract from Iran. That's what I thought, Josh. That's what I thought. That's what I think too. Yeah, but that's a really good point, Gal. Yeah. I have an out of the box theory about the Melania thing. Iran happens to have a pretty robust cyber infrastructure to hack and attack our systems, including FBI and Epstein files. Yeah, that's true. They have already proven that with the drunk pictures of Mr. Patel. Uh-oh. Here we go. Maybe Iran has... Oh, this is a good one. Maybe Iran has more leverage than just the straight. Pro-Iranian groups claim credit for hacking Director Patel's personal account. Iran hackers threatened to release Trump aides' emails. Oh, I didn't even see that. So that's a pro-Iranian hacking group claimed Friday to have hacked the account of FBI Director Kash Patel, has posted online what appear to be years-old photographs of him along with a work resume and other personal documents. Many of those records appeared to be more than a decade old. Well, maybe they're just, I don't know. I mean, I wonder, when people have this type of information, I wonder why they don't just release it, but it's fine. It makes me think they don't really have it. Iran-linked hackers have threatened to disclose more emails stolen from U.S. President Donald Trump's circle after distributing a batch prior to the media ahead of the 2024 election. In online chats with Reuters on Sunday, it looks like this might be last year. And Monday, the hackers who go by pseudonym Robert said they had roughly 100 gigabytes of emails from the accounts of White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, Lindsey Halligan, and Roger Stone. And porn star turned Trump antagonist Stormy Daniels. No, she is actually the she's a producer and has her own production company. Okay, so fuck you. Stop trying to diminish people. Not that diminishes them, but they think it does. Didn't they hack us last year? Yeah, I think this is a story from then, Josh. Foreign hacker compromised Epstein files held by FBI. This is a Reuters story. A foreign hacker in 2023 compromised the Epstein files held by FBI. So, like, they have the capacity. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. They have the capacity. So, where was I? Oops. I don't know where I was. Oh, here. Yeah. I can't even believe it. All right, so this is about AI. and Google's AI in particular, and the fact that it promotes misinformation. Google's AI overviews are peddling misinformation on a scale that may be virtually unprecedented. A recent analysis by the AI startup Umi, at the behest of the New York Times, found that the AI-generated summaries which appear above Google search results are accurate around 91% of the time. In a sense, that may sound like an impressive figure, but here's an even more impressive one: 5 trillion. That's roughly the number of search queries that Google processes every year, translating to tens of millions of wrong answers that the AI overviews are providing every hour, and hundreds of thousands every minute, the analysis calculated. In other words, Google has created misinformation crisis. Studies have shown that people tend to trust what AI tells them without question. Guilty, with one report finding, well, although I usually do go to the source. I may look at the AI overview, but I try to click on the sources. But still, I'm using the AI overview, so that's probably wrong. Everything's wrong. Ugh. Oh, yeah, I want to read that article about Sam Altman. It's going to be a long one. With one report, maybe I'll do that at the end, that only 8% of users actually double-checked an AI's answer. Another experiment found that users still listened to AI when it gave them the wrong answer nearly 80% of the time, a grim trend the researchers dubbed cognitive surrender. Ooh, that sounds terrible. Large language models adopt an authoritative tone and can confidently present fabricated information as fact when it can't immediately glean a straight answer. Add the convenience that Google's AI overviews offer, and it's easy to imagine untold numbers of users taking its summaries at their word. Umi conducted the analysis using a test called Simple QA, a widely used benchmark for AI accuracy in the industry, which was designed by OpenAI. The first round of tests, conducted in October, used a version of the AI overviews powered by Google's Gemini 2 model. A follow-up conducted in February tested the feature after it was switched to Gemini 3, its much-hyped upgrade. Each round of tests involved 4,326 Google searches. Gemini 3 came out the more accurate model, giving a factually sound response 91% of the time. Gemini 2 performed significantly worse at just 85% accurate. On the one hand, it shows that models are improving. On the other, it shows that Google was willing to foist a model on its user base that was even more prone to hallucinating in an ongoing experiment that's still misinforming hundreds of millions of people. Google called the analysis flawed. This study has serious holds, Ned Adrians, Google spokesman, told the NYT in a statement. It doesn't reflect what people are actually searching on Google. Okay. Yet Google's own tests paint a no less damning picture, the reporting notes. In an internal analysis of Gemini 3, it found that the AI model produced incorrect information 28% of the time. Google claims, however, that AI overviews are more accurate because they draw on Google search results before answering. The improvement between Gemini 2 and 3 may be papering over a more serious flaw. In the Umi analysis, Gemini 2 provided answers that were ungrounded 37% of the time, meaning the AI overviews cited websites that didn't support the information they provided. But with Gemini 3, this jumped to 56%. On top of suggesting that the AI is pulling facts out of thin air, ungrounded responses make it difficult for users to verify the AI's claims. So, yeah, that's fun. Well, there's fun. Let's see. Oh, this one I wanted to read from CBS News. Army survivors of deadly attack in Kuwait dispute the Pentagon's account, say unit was unprepared to defend itself. Oh, wait, here we go. Did I already click that? Okay. Survivors of the deadliest attack, Iranian attack on U.S. forces since the war began, have disputed the Pentagon's description of events and said their unit in Kuwait was left dangerously exposed when 6 service members were killed and more than 20 wounded. Did we hear about the? I mean, I remember the attack on Kuwait, but I don't remember the numbers of 6 people dead. Speaking publicly for the first time, members of the targeted unit offered CBS News a detailed account of the attack and its harrowing aftermath from the perspective of those on the ground. The members CBS News spoke to disputed the description of events from Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, who described the drone as a squirter, in that it squirted through the defenses of a fortified unit inside Kuwait. Quote, painting a picture that one squeaked through is a falsehood, one of the injured soldiers told CBS News. I want people to know the unit was unprepared to provide any defense for itself. It was not a fortified position. That service member, who like others spoke on the condition of anonymity because of rigid media restrictions within the military, said that in spite of the carnage that ensued, those inside the charred and splintered compound responded with swiftness, ingenuity, and valor that saved lives. I don't think that the security environment or any leadership decision diminishes in any way the sacrifice or their service, the member of the Army's 103rd Sustainment Command said in an interview. Those soldiers put themselves in harm's way, and I'm immensely proud of them. Their families should be proud of them. These first eyewitness accounts, along with photos and videos of the attack's aftermath obtained exclusively by CBS News, offer the first descriptions of what occurred March 1st at the thinly fortified Kuwaiti port facility on the day of the Iranian drone strike. That's the photo. It killed 6 members. So does that mean 19 people have died? I'm very confused. Is that an additional 6 people that haven't been, or are they part of the 13? In the hours before the attack, incoming missile alarms had signaled to a crew of about 60 troops to take cover in a cement bunker while a ballistic missile flew overhead. But around 9:15 a.m., an all-clear alert sounded. Officers removed their helmets and returned to their desks in the wood and tin workspace about the width of 3 trailers. From there, they resumed managing the movement of the equipment, munitions, and personnel across the Middle East. About 30 minutes later, everything shook, one soldier told CBS News, and it's something like what you see in the movies. Your ears are ringing, everything's fuzzy, your vision is blurry, you're dizzy, there's dust and smoke everywhere. Dazed, the service member surveyed a grisly scene. Head wounds, heavy bleeding, lots of perforated eardrums, and then just shrapnel all over. So folks are bleeding from their abdomen, their arms, their legs. A video showed smoke billowing from the building, fire smoldering. The blast killed 6, the deadliest attack on U.S. troops since 2021, and injured more than 20 others. There's the bomb. About a week before the launch of Operation Epic Fury, the most American soldiers and airmen stationed in Kuwait were relocated to positions in Jordan and Saudi Arabia, further away from Iranian missile range. Some soldiers said leadership advised them they wouldn't be gone long, to pack for 30 days and leave behind most personal equipment, including their military-issued computers. The goal, don't be a target. The way it was described was get off the X, meaning get away from the danger zone, one soldier who just returned from deployment explained. But for several dozen members of the Army's 103rd Sustainment Command at a major U.S. base south of Kuwait City, there were a different set of orders. Pack up everything and relocate to the port of Shuaibah, a smaller military outpost off Kuwait's southern coast. The Tactical Operations Center was similar to structures commonplace during the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, before the rise of drone warfare. Steel-reinforced concrete barriers known as T-walls surrounded the building. These types of barriers are designed to shield service members from the blast of a mortar or rocket, but offer no protection from aerial attacks. It's kind of just a classic older military base, one soldier recalled. Some small barriers. There's a bunch of little tin buildings where we can set up makeshift offices. From there, logistics staff would manage the operational and informational flow of munitions, equipment, and personnel across the Middle East theater. Still, the soldiers told CBS News they had questions about why they remained well within range of Iran's missiles and drones. One soldier said they saw intelligence showing the post was on a list of potential Iranian targets. We moved closer to Iran, to a deeply unsafe area that was a known target, the soldier said. I don't think there was a good reason ever articulated. He said they were protected by little more than a thin layer of vertical standing blast barricades that did not provide cover from above. From a bunker standpoint, that's about as weak as one gets, he said. Asked to describe the degree of fortification, he responded, I mean, I would put it in the none category. From a drone defense capability, none. A Pentagon spokesperson declined to comment on the soldiers' claims, citing an active investigation into the port of Shuaibah attack. In a post on X addressing prior CBS News reporting on the incident, Assistant Secretary of Defense Sean Parnell, asshole, said every possible measure has been taken to safeguard our troops at every level. That's so easy to say. Like, that's so fucking easy to say. And that the secure facility was fortified with 6-foot walls. As the war got underway, it became clear that Iran would be moving away from conventional defense and leaning more heavily on cheap and plentiful drones, an arsenal that has changed the battle calculus in places like Ukraine. It was one of those Iranian Shahed drones that detonated directly at the center of the U.S. soldiers' worksite. It was chaos, another injured soldier described. There was no single line of patients to triage. You're on one side of the fire or you're on the other side of the fire. The soldiers, according to witnesses, triaged themselves with makeshift bandages, braces, and tourniquets. They commandeered civilian vehicles to drive the wounded to 2 local Kuwaiti hospitals in Kuwait City, a suburb of Fahil. One of the hardest things for me is that I know we didn't get everybody out. So I know at this point there are still soldiers inside there that still haven't been identified and evacuated, one survivor said, of the tense moments en route to the hospital before the other teams extracted the remaining fallen. Word of Hegseth's description of the events at a press conference in Washington did not sit well with some of the survivors. The secretary had described the drone as a squirter that happened to hit a tactical operations center that was fortified, but these are powerful weapons, end quote. While several of those familiar with the events on the ground did not agree with the description, they did not want their remarks to be misconstrued. It is not my intent to diminish morale or disparage the Army or Department of War more holistically, but I do think that telling the truth is important, and we're not going to learn from these mistakes if we pretend these mistakes didn't happen, one soldier said. Asked if the attack was an inherent reality of engaging in combat, he agreed. That's true, he said. Asked if this attack was preventable, the soldier added, in my opinion, absolutely yes. I'm very sad for their loss, and it's something I'll carry with me for the rest of my life, he said. But I'm also immensely proud of them and their sacrifice, and their families should be too. Yeah, but they didn't have to die. They didn't have to die. So what about that? What about that? Let me see what else I got. Not sure I really want that one. No, we're not going to get into the budget, unfortunately. Oh, yeah, that's when I was singing this morning. Okay. Oh, wow. I didn't even know why I had that up. Okay. Wait, there's more. But wait, there's more. Hold on just a minute. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I have more. You guys aren't going anywhere. Okay, so just don't even think about it. I do have to pee, though. It is sickening. It absolutely is sickening. I really appreciate that reporting by CBS, which I don't find myself saying very often these days. But I do appreciate that reporting. All right, let's get into it. Oh, actually, I'm going to check a couple more before I get into the Sam Altman piece, because it's a long one. Hold on. Where am I? Oh, there you are. La 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 la. There you are. La 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 la. Oh, I think it's like weird. Da 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 da. Da, 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 da. Oh man, it's me. I'm too big. I'm too big. I'm too big. Make yourself a little smaller. Make yourself a little smaller. I could put something on. Wait, let me put something on because I really need to pee. And I don't want to leave you. So hold on. Let me just. I could put on. No, Artemis is boring. Hold on. Da 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 da. Yeah, 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 yeah. Wait. Oh yeah, wait, what? Oh, playlist. I'm like, what do I want? I knew I had something. Oh, you know what? I want to play this. This I thought was very interesting. It's a Face the Nation interview from Sunday with the guy from the IAEA, from the International Atomic Energy, I don't know, boo-boo heads. I'm not sure what they're called. But while I pee, I'm going to show you this. Okay. I was very worried for. Oh yeah, Israeli official today said they were going to start targeting ambulances using the same. Listen, I don't understand why someone is not stopping Bibi Netanyahu. Okay, we have to stop Bibi Netanyahu. He has to be stopped. Oh, really? You watched an interview with them? Oh, Dan, that's terrible. I would love, okay, wait, what were we talking about? The ambulances and BB. Wait, there was one more thing about that. You made me think about something about that. Oh, that's what it was. This is probably going to get me canceled, but I'm used to being canceled. Okay, so, whatever. But how I'm going to cancel myself is, I keep forgetting. It keeps slipping my mind. It has to do with Gaza. I was watching the NAN this morning, the National Action Network. They're having a little conference, and a lot of great people are speaking, right? And Al Sharpton, who I love, was interviewing Kamala Harris this morning. And so I watched a little bit of it, and I'm going to be honest with you. I do not want to hear from Kamala Harris anymore. Because the little bit that I did hear this morning was just about the fact that Donald Trump is a loose cannon and we're no longer respected by the rest of the world. That's literally what she was talking about for the 10 minutes that I listened, which, is fine. But Kamala, for me, represents the part of the Democrat Party, like Ken Martin, who are just basically, like still in the status quo. Like their head is still up the ass of like, how things should work or whatever. And the fact that I would like to ask her why, if she had more intelligence about what was happening on the ground in Gaza prior to the UN making it a determination of genocide, etc., why isn't she now just recanting that and saying, we need to rethink the way we do everything? You know what I'm saying? And she's talking about the war in Iran and the fact that it was a self-inflicted wound and that we started it and all that kind of stuff. So she's close, but she's never getting to the point of saying, you know what? I apologize. We should never have supported what was happening and given just, unconditional weaponry that was being used against the Gazans, so I feel like she just sounded like she did, and I never really liked Kamala just from living in San Francisco. I just thought she was kind of like just a prosecutor, right? She was just like, she was way into it. She was way into I don't know. Anyway, there's a lot of people in San Francisco politics I could not deal with. But she was definitely, I just wasn't that excited about her. And frankly, I don't think she wanted to be vice president. I think she wanted to be president, and I understand that. But I don't know. I just don't think her heart is in it. I'm sorry. I just don't think her heart is in it. And, God bless the ground that she's broken too, because I do believe she's a very intelligent woman. She's really good at, whatever job she is doing. She's competent. I don't know. She's just not right for this moment. Like she's definitely not right for this moment. If she came out and said that, I'd go so far to start the process of restoring goodwill towards the party. Yep. Specifically because it would signal changes in the DNC leadership. Yes. See, that's what needs to happen in the DNC leadership, meowing. I think what needs to happen within the DNC is to say, you know what? We have been part of the problem. We are just as much beholden to corporate funds. We are just as much willing to overlook, bad things. All of that stuff, which I don't know. I think there needs to be an emergence of either new voices or voices that are truly repentant and saying, wow, we cannot do things the way we've done them before. Yeah, AIPAC. I know, Dan. DNC is idiot. Ken Martin, I think he's working for the Republicans. I literally do. I think because he does fucking nothing for the Democrats. Anyway, that's what I think. So sorry. I think I would have. I've campaigned very hard for Kamala, and I would have fought against whatever I needed to fight against with her and her administration, just as much as I'm fighting Dump and his regime. But you know, she was not my choice. Joe Biden was not my choice. Okay, I was an Elizabeth Warren person. That's who I was. I was an Elizabeth Warren person. But you know, none of them totally got me excited. You know, like Imam Donnie, that would get me excited. Of course, he's not. He wasn't born here, so unfortunately. But he's still gonna, I think, do a good job for New York City, and I'm excited to see what he does. And I'm excited for him because I think his successes will be very energetic to democracy and to the Democratic Party, if that's what he chooses to keep aligning with. I choose to say pro-democracy candidates, right? Like, just let's try and break free of labels and things in some ways, but obviously in others. I also am going to start doing some shows specifically about the California governor's race, because I'm very concerned about the primary coming up in June and the governor's race in the fall. I think that there's very little energy right now in California about where people are going to put their energy, because we have two ridiculous but very serious Republican candidates. And so this is not good. And we need to really fucking pull away from that. So anyway, all to say, if you know, you might get bored, but I'm going to start talking about the California governor's race. I pulled all the pages of the candidates because I want to really understand where they're standing on the issues, because I really have no clue as to where I would put my energy. And I think that's a big mistake, because once you give Californians the energy, like with Prop 50, to really make it happen, they will make it happen. They will make it happen. So what California needs, I think, right now is a real focus of who is the pro-democracy governor. And that is what we need to fucking take care of. Anyway, I gotta pee. So here we go. I'm gonna let you listen to this moron. But the guy from the IAEA is pretty smart. Nobody's a moron. I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. That's terrible. I'm starting to think who it is. Dem president matters less. What matters is what the people keep doing to pressure whoever. I agree. And it matters with Congress, right? I mean, if anything's going to matter, then those things matter. But we still have to tell them, you know, like, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure what we go back to. I'm not sure if the Congress is taken by the Democrat Party, what that means. I don't know what that means yet. And I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, okay, BRB. Here we go.
The UN nuclear watchdog agency, the IAEA, says it has not detected any raised levels of radiation around nuclear sites that have been targeted by strikes in Israel and in Iran. On Thursday, we spoke with the head of that agency and began by asking him whether Iran's nuclear ambitions can be destroyed through military action.
Well, of course, there has already been a lot of damage done. And last year, 12-day war was, in that sense, quite effective. This time around, I think the focus of the campaign does not seem to be specifically the nuclear facilities, although there have been some hits in Natanz and Isfahan, and also at another place near Parchin, which used to be a facility more related to the weaponization efforts, but back in the early 2000s. So there has been some, but I would say they have been relatively marginal when you consider the overall nature of the military campaign so far. But so going back to your question, there has been a lot of impact on the program. One cannot deny that this has really rolled back the program considerably. But my impression is that once the military effort comes to an end, we will still inherit a number of major issues that have been at the center of all of this. One, most notably, the inventory of enriched uranium at 60%, which is very close to the degree you need to make a bomb. That is going to still be where it is, largely.
Under the rubble.
Under the rubble, and in some cases, no rubble, and somewhere under. And also, importantly, some facilities, infrastructure, equipment, which have most probably survived some of the attacks. Even they could be damaged, seriously damaged, but that is something that we will only be able to ascertain once our inspectors go back. So
let's talk about that. What I heard you say there is Iran had that nuclear weapons program that in 2003, according to U.S. intelligence, was halted. But as you know, there's this debate over whether Iran's nuclear program actually did have a weapons ambition. You were never quite able to say yes or no.
Well, because we are not analysts or people having opinions. We are the IAEA. So whenever we say something, it has to be based on actual inspection. And the thing is, and continues to be, one, yes, like you say. Yes, we haven't seen a systematic program like the Ahmad plan with offices, people reporting to people, and an array of places where you are doing stuff. But there were many, many concerning things, many unanswered questions, and especially since 2019, 2020, when I became, more or less when I became Director General, where, yes, in 2015, in 2016, when the JCPOA, the previous agreement, you remember?
The Obama era nuclear.
Exactly. When that started to be applied, Iran was complying with a number of things, but we started seeing new stuff. We started seeing and getting new elements that gave rise to concerns, and we were talking about them with Iran. And then it came a point, very important point, when I said, you know, in view of this, I have to say that I'm no longer able to say that everything is in order.
Because you were finding uranium in places it wasn't supposed to be, because they weren't allowing you unfettered access. You couldn't say clearly one way or the other.
Exactly that.
So let's come back to that. According to what you did know and were able to declare in these IAEA reports, Iran had uranium enriched up to 60%, weapons grade is 90, as I understand it.
Yeah.
And if that material remains now in Iran after combat ends, will it still have nuclear capabilities if it has the enriched material and the centrifuges?
Well, you remember, and for this I would quote or partially refer to things that have been said in Iran by Iranians. You remember very important officials saying, we have all the elements of the puzzle. So when this is said, we were telling them this is unhelpful, or at least you should explain what is meant by that. It's a vast program, all right? And so, albeit the physical destruction that has been acted upon these facilities, there's a lot going on. And don't forget something, Margaret, when we talk about centrifuges, when we talk about this kind of facilities, this is an activity that can be relatively, I wouldn't say easily, but it is very possible to reconstruct this effort. Is metallurgy. Yeah. Is a sophisticated washing machine. It's nothing, I mean, and you cannot unlearn what you...
Hi, Badger and Esmeralda. Welcome. Good morning.
Learn.
Right. You can't bomb away the knowledge. So that capability will exist after combat.
Exactly.
ends.
And it was very sophisticated. Let's not forget, again, referring back to JCPOA. JCPOA was based or predicated upon a very primitive type of centrifuge. Now Iran has the most sophisticated, fast and efficient machine that exists. And they know how to make it, and they know. And on top of that, there may be places out there which are not nuclear places. This is why what I say is that we still need to find a framework, an agreed framework that is going to be providing us with the necessary previsibility and sense of a clear idea of where they are, what they want to go.
Because this war will not destroy Iran's nuclear ambitions and capabilities.
I would say any war.
Any war.
Unless it was nuclear war and you go for destruction in an unfathomable way, which we hope, of course, will never be the case.
Well, talk to me about the options that we know are being discussed by the United States right now, including President Trump and Israel have talked about the potential of sending special forces in to secure some of this enriched material. You have been to Isfahan. You have seen some of the underground facilities.
Yes.
How difficult would it be to move these cylinders that are there full of chemicals?
We're talking about cylinders containing gas of highly contaminated uranium hexafluoride at 60%. So it's very difficult to handle. So much so that, for example, in terms of this negotiation, we might perhaps discuss that a little bit, that did not bear fruit. One of the things that we were discussing was downblending it because of its difficulty in terms of handling in the scenario, for example, of a ship out of the material, exfiltrating the material. So it is very difficult. Then, of course, I guess there will be a number of decoys, a number of distracting cylinders, materials over there, which would make it very difficult. I'm not saying it's impossible. I know that here there are incredible military capacities to do that, but it would be a very challenging operation for sure.
For military operation to be carried out. Let me just ask you about one other thing. You've said about half the nuclear material was around Isfahan.
Well, it's a little bit more. There is, but the majority of the material is there. And this is not a secret because I've seen a lot of hype about it. This has been in our reports. The vast majority is there. There is some in Natanz as well and in some other parts.
There's focus on these other undeclared facilities President Trump has brought up. There's a facility called Pickaxe Mountain, for example, that comes up. Are you concerned about those other sites?
Well, we should visit those. They were not operational, so this is why we hadn't. You may remember that on the eve of the June 2025 campaign, Iran announced that they had a new enrichment facility in Isfahan.
Yes.
On that same day, I issued a request for an urgent inspection, which was granted, and the inspectors were there in the morning, late night when the attacks happened. So we never got to see the place. We will have to go there eventually.
Final thought here. Do you think President Trump supports what I heard you say, which is that a military campaign cannot destroy Iran's nuclear program, and that the only way to understand what they're really doing is to be on the ground inspecting it, and that can't be done by the United States military fully either?
Well, I think, I don't know whether he would endorse this or not, but he has said also that, of course, diplomacy is the preferred option. I think that is encouraging. And we have had a very constructive conversation in the past and now.
Have you spoken to him?
Not to the president, no. I hadn't had the honor. But I was talking to people that I had been talking in the past, and we continue this effort. I think the essence of this is that in the bleakest hour, we should never lose hope.
You can see our.
Really? That's your message, sir? We shouldn't lose hope? Oh boy. Yeah. Anyway, I thought that was a really good, and I love hearing directly from the IAEA, and to find out that their folks were on the ground during inspecting a whatever, and then the bombs start falling. Like, what the fuck is happening? We are really, I mean, literally, folks, we are the Nazis. I mean, I hope you understand this. We are literally the Nazis. We are literally imposing our will on other countries by force. It's in the Mar-a-Lago Accord, which I have all of that teed up too, because one of these days we're going to sit down and we're going to talk about the fucking Mar-a-Lago Accord. Because it's happening, and I'm sick to death of the fact that the press cannot tie together the different things that happen under the auspices of what this regime is trying to accomplish or break. And why are they breaking it? That should be the question. The question that the press should be asking is, why would they want to break things? Why? Who benefits? And I love the conversation that's happening in chat about Jill Stein. Here's the thing I think about Jill Stein. I think she infiltrated the Green Party because there was a vacuum of leadership, I think, within the Green Party. And it has suffered, I think, from that for a long time, frankly. If the Green Party could actually get some legitimate leadership in it and organizing, it would be great. But right now, Jill Stein is a fake. And the good news is when I'm on TikTok, there is a lot of Gen Z dragging Jill Stein for the lack of action that she has done in the last few years, especially around Gaza. So they know the drill, which is good. And everyone should just turn their back on Jill Stein, not the Green Party, because I have relatives who are. My dad was a member of the Green Party, so I grew up with Green Party people in my life. My brother is a Green Party, so I am supportive of that, but we need some leadership. And maybe it's coalition with the Democrats to improve the Democrats and to bring them up in terms of their lack of corporate, to break that corporate hold on the Democrats. Because I really do believe that if it becomes a people's party, like the Working Families Party and other things, if we really truly open the doors and say, what are the best ideas and how are people at the center of those ideas, then I think you actually could have a very big, and I think we'll have a blue wave anyway, but I think you could have a blue wave for the right reasons, right? So, so the guy's point about Iran being able to make new centrifuges reveals with their current stockpiles, they have enough material for decades of substantial. Of course they can. And here's the thing. Knowledge can't be bombed, like he said. And this war is not going to be the answer for any of this shit anymore. It never was. But we're going to have to get to a point where we actually start to use trade and aid as the ways to really build relationships with countries and then create peace pacts, like the détente, to seek nuclear détente or whatever it's going to be. Now, right now, we don't have the regime in place that's even interested in doing that. In fact, they're interested in the opposite. So, GP artist to Lolo from Maryland. Oh, I love GP. I love GP. Sweet. So that's what I think about that, for whatever it's worth. Let's see what this is. Oh, this is, okay, I really want to read this. It's going to take a minute, so just grab a coffee or grab a tea or grab a drink of water or a vodka. I don't care what you're doing. I'm not your mom. But this is the New Yorker piece that Ronan Farrow had spent 18 months interviewing and researching this article about Sam Altman. And I guess it's probably pretty good. Let's see. I haven't read it. So Sam Altman may control our future. Can he be trusted? New interviews and closely guarded documents shed light on the persistent doubts about the head of OpenAI. Oh no. This is too big. It's too big. It's too big. It's too big. Wait, where am I? Sorry. I don't even know what I'm doing. Wait, maybe I do this. Come on. Oh, man. All right, good enough. Okay, in the fall of 2023, Ilya Sutskever, OpenAI's chief scientist, sent secret memos to 3 fellow members of the organization's board of directors. Let's do this so I can keep an eye on chat. There we go. You read it last night. Oh, Dan. Sent secret memos to 3 fellow members of the organization's board of directors. For weeks, they'd been having furtive discussions about whether Sam Altman, OpenAI's CEO, and Greg Brockman, his second in command, were fit to run the company. Sutskever even had once counted both men as friends. In 2019, he'd officiated Brockman's wedding in a ceremony at OpenAI's offices that included a ring bearer in the form of a robotic hand. But as he grew convinced that the company was nearing its long-term goal, creating an artificial intelligence that could rival or surpass the cognitive capabilities of human beings, well, that's probably his first mistake. His doubts about Altman increased. As Sutskever put it to another board member at the time, I don't think Sam is the guy who should have his finger on the button. At the behest of his fellow board members, Sutskever worked with like-minded colleagues to compile some 70 pages of Slack messages and HR documents accompanied by explanatory text. The material included images taken with a cell phone, apparently to avoid detection on company devices. He sent the final memos to the other board members as disappearing messages to ensure that no one else would ever see them. He was terrified, a board member who received them recalled. The memos, which we reviewed, have not been previously disclosed in full. They allege that Altman misrepresented facts to executives and board members and deceived them about internal safety protocols. One of the memos about Altman begins with a list headed, Sam exhibits a consistent pattern of. The first item is lying. Many technology companies issue vague proclamations about improving the world, then go about maximizing revenue. But the founding premise of OpenAI was that it would have to be different. The founders, who included Altman, Sutskever, Brockman, and Elon, that's right, Elon's involved in this story, asserted that artificial intelligence could be the most powerful, potentially dangerous invention in human history, and that perhaps, given the existential risk, an unusual corporate structure would be required. The firm was established as a nonprofit whose board had a duty to prioritize the safety of humanity over the company's success or even its survival. The CEO had to be a person of uncommon integrity. According to Sutskever, any person working to build this civilization-altering technology bears a heavy burden and is taking on an unprecedented responsibility. But the people who end up in these kinds of positions are often a certain kind of person. Someone who is interested in power, a politician, someone who likes it. In one of the memos, he seemed concerned with entrusting the technology to someone who, quote, just tells the people what they want to hear. If OpenAI's CEO turned out not to be reliable, the board, which had 6 members, was empowered to fire him. Some members, including Helen Toner, an AI policy expert, and Tasha McCauley, an entrepreneur, received the memos as a confirmation of what they had already come to believe. Altman's role entrusted him with the future of humanity, but he could not be trusted. Altman was in Las Vegas attending a Formula One race when Sutskever invited him to a video call with the board, then read a brief statement explaining that he was no longer an employee of OpenAI. The board, following legal advice, released a public message saying only that Altman had been removed because he, quote, was not consistently candid in his communications. Many of OpenAI's investors and executives were shocked. Microsoft, which had invested some $13 billion in OpenAI, learned of the plan to fire Altman just moments before it happened. I was very stunned, Satya Nadella, Microsoft CEO, later said. I couldn't get anything out of anybody. He spoke with the LinkedIn co-founder Reid Hoffman, an OpenAI investor, and a Microsoft board member who began calling around to determine whether Altman had committed a clear offense. I didn't know what the fuck was going on, Hoffman told us. We were looking for embezzlement or sexual harassment, and I just found nothing. Oh, well, ask his sister. Reid. Bitch. Other business partners were similarly blindsided. When Altman called the investor Ron Conway to say that he'd been fired, Conway held up his phone to Representative Nancy Pelosi, with whom he was having lunch. You better get out of here really quick, she told Conway. OpenAI was on the verge of closing a large investment from Thrive, a venture capital firm founded by Josh Kushner, the guy who brought you Oscar Health and is going to be the privatizing health guy, I bet you. Fucking Josh, Jared's brother, whom Altman had known for years. They're all the same people. The deal, fucking Jared Kushner. Yeah, Musk, Clark, Musk and Altman and people did. I just read who did found it. A venture capital, blah, blah, blah. The deal would value OpenAI, yeah, it's all money, OpenAI at $86 billion and allow many employees to cash out millions in equity. Kushner emerged from a meeting with Rick Rubin, the music producer, to a missed call from Altman. We just immediately went to war, Kushner later said. The day that Altman was fired, he flew back to his $27 million mansion in San Francisco, which has panoramic views of the bay and once featured a cantilevered infinity pool, and set up what he called a sort of government in exile. Conway, the Airbnb co-founder Brian Chesky, and the famously aggressive crisis communications, I know Chris. Oh, I do know Chris. Aggressive crisis communications manager Chris Lehane. He worked with the zoo when we had the tiger attack. Anyway, sometimes for hours a day by video and phone. Some members of Altman's executive team camped out in the hallways of the house. Lawyers set up in a home office next to his bedroom. During bouts of insomnia, Altman would wander by them in his pajamas. When we spoke with Altman recently, he described the aftermath of his firing as just this weird fugue. With the board silent, Altman's advisors built a public case for his return. Lehane has insisted that the firing was a coup orchestrated by rogue, effective altruists, adherents of a belief system that focuses on maximizing the well-being of humanity, who had come to see AI as an existential threat. Hoffman told Nadella that the firing might be due to effective altruism craziness. Oh my God. Oh my God. Reid Hoffman, you're a pig. Lehane, whose reported motto after Mike Tyson is everyone has a game plan until you punch them in the mouth, urged Altman to wage an aggressive social media campaign. Chesky stayed in contact with the tech journalist Kara Swisher, relaying criticism of the board. Kara Swisher is a fucking problem, okay? Kara Swisher, and I put this under every fucking Blue Sky or whatever she's in. I'm like, why did you not warn people about these assholes? Kara Swisher propped up these motherfucking assholes with her tech writing for years. For years. So fuck you, Kara Swisher. Fuck you for normalizing these fucking bros. Because that's what you did, you cunt. Boy, I'm not going to have any friends. Thank you to my 23 viewers. I hope you stay with me. Follow me for more rants. No. With the board silent. Okay, wait. Kara Swisher. God damn it! Sorry. Altman interrupted his war room at 6 o'clock each evening with a round of Negronis. You need to chill, he recalls saying. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. But, he added, his phone... I read this yesterday. See you later. Okay, bye. At one point, Altman conveyed to Mira Murati, who had given Sutskever material for his memos and was serving as the interim CEO of OpenAI in that period, that his allies were going all out and finding bad things to damage her reputation, as well as those of others who had moved against him, according to someone with knowledge of the conversation. Altman does not recall the exchange. Within hours of the firing, Thrive had put its planned investment on hold and suggested that the deal would be consummated and employees would thus receive payouts only if Altman returned. Texts from this period show Altman coordinating closely with Nadella. How about Satya and my top priority remains to save OpenAI, Altman suggested as the two worked on a statement. Nadella proposed an alternative to ensure OpenAI continues to thrive. Microsoft soon announced that it would create a competing initiative for Altman and any employees who left OpenAI. A public letter demanding his return circulated at the organization. Some people who hesitated to sign it received imploring calls and messages from colleagues. A majority of OpenAI employees ultimately threatened to leave with Altman. Ooh, Germany has an especially dark chocolate cake with cream and cherries. Schwarzwälder. Ooh, yeah. Yum, yum. The board was backed into a corner. Control Z, that's one option, Toner said, undo the firing. Or the other option is the company falls apart. Even Murati eventually signed the letter. Altman's allies worked to win over Sutskever. Brockman's wife, Anna, approached him at the office and pleaded with him to reconsider. You're a good person. You can fix this, she said. How do they know that? Sutskever later explained in a court deposition, I felt that if we were going to go down the path where Sam would not return, then OpenAI would be destroyed. One night, Altman took an Ambien, only to be awakened by his husband, an Australian coder named Oliver Mulheron, who told him that Sutskever was wavering and that people were telling Altman to speak with the board. I woke up in this like crazy Ambien haze and I was so disoriented, Altman said. I was like, I cannot talk to the board right now. Yeah. In a series of increasingly tense calls, Altman demanded the resignations of board members who had moved to fire him. I have to pick up the pieces of their mess while I'm in this crazy cloud of suspicion. Altman recalled initially thinking about his return. I was just like, absolutely fucking not. Eventually, Sutskever, Toner, and Macaulay lost their board seats. Adam D'Angelo, founder of Quora, was the sole original member who remained. As a condition of their exit, the departing members demanded that the allegations against Altman, including that he pitted executives against one another and concealed his financial entanglements, be investigated. They also pressed for a new board that could oversee the outside inquiry with independence. But the two new members, the former Harvard president Larry Summers and former Facebook CTO Brett Taylor, were selected after close conversations with Altman. Would you do this? Altman texted Nadella, Brett, Larry Summers, Adam as the board, and me as CEO, and then Brett handles the investigation. Macaulay later testified in a deposition that when Taylor was previously considered for a board seat, she had concerns about his deference to Altman. Ooh, butter pecan. I like butter pecan. Less than 5 days after his firing, Altman was reinstated. Employees now call this moment the blip, after an incident in the Marvel films in which characters disappear from existence and then return unchanged to a world profoundly altered by their absence. But the debate over Altman's trustworthiness had moved beyond OpenAI's boardroom. The colleagues who facilitated his ouster accuse him of a degree of deception that is untenable for any executive and dangerous for a leader of such a transformative technology. We need institutions worthy of the power they wield, Murati told us. The board sought feedback, and I shared what I was seeing. Everything I shared was accurate, and I stand behind all of it. Altman's allies, on the other hand, have long dismissed the accusations. After the firing, Conway texted Chesky and Lehane demanding a public relations offensive. This is reputational to Sam, he wrote. He told the Washington Post that Altman had been mistreated by a rogue board of directors. Blah. Bullshit. OpenAI has since become one of the most valuable companies in the world. It's reportedly preparing for an initial public offering at a potential valuation of $1 trillion. Oh my God. Holy shit. Altman is driving the construction of a staggering amount of AI infrastructure, some of it concentrated within foreign autocracies. That's right. OpenAI is securing sweeping government contracts, setting standards for how AI is used in immigration enforcement, domestic surveillance, and autonomous weaponry in war zones. Don't forget that he offered OpenAI as a replacement for Claude, because Claude wouldn't do the unmanned drone attacks and the surveillance on American citizens. And Sam said, I will. I'll do it. I'll look. All right. Altman has promoted OpenAI's growth by touting a vision in which he wrote in a 2024 blog post, astounding triumphs, fixing the climate, establishing a space colony, and the discovery of all physics. No, wait, of all of physics? Oh, will eventually become commonplace. His rhetoric has helped sustain one of the fastest cash burns of any startup in history, relying on partners that have borrowed vast sums. The U.S. economy is increasingly dependent on a few highly leveraged AI companies, and many experts, at times including Altman, have warned that the industry is in a bubble. Quote, someone is going to lose a phenomenal amount of money, he told reporters last year. If the bubble pops, economic catastrophe may follow. If his most bullish projections prove correct, he may become one of the wealthiest and most powerful people on the planet. In a tense call after Altman's firing, the board pressed him to acknowledge a pattern of deception. This is just so fucked up. He said repeatedly, according to people on the call, I can't change my personality. Altman says that he doesn't recall the exchange. It's possible that I meant something like, I do try to be a unifying force, he told us, adding that this trait had enabled him to lead an immensely successful company. He attributed the criticism to a tendency, especially early in his career, to be too much of a conflict avoider, but a board member offered a different interpretation of his statement. What it meant was, I have this trait where I lie to people, and I'm not going to stop. Were the colleagues who fired Altman motivated by alarmism and personal animus, or were they right that he couldn't be trusted? One morning this winter, we met Altman at OpenAI's headquarters in San Francisco for one or of more than a dozen conversations with him for this story. The company had recently moved into a pair of 11-story glass towers, one of which had been occupied by Uber, another tech behemoth whose co-founder and CEO Travis Kalanick seemed like an unstoppable prodigy until he resigned in 2017 under pressure from investors who cited concerns about his ethics and sexual abuse. I'll just add that in there. Kalanick now runs a robotics startup in his free time. He said recently he uses OpenAI's ChatGPT to get the edge of what's known in quantum physics. Yeah. So he landed really great. Which one is Sam in Mountainhead? I don't know. I don't know which one he is. I'd have to think about it. Wajahat Ali had Ronan on. Yeah, Ronan is definitely making the rounds. I saw him on Katie Couric too. An employee gave us a tour of the office. In an airy space full of communal tables, there was an animated digital painting of the computer scientist Alan Turing. Its eyes tracked us as we passed. The installation is a winking reference to the Turing test, the 1950 thought experiment about whether a machine can credibly imitate a person. In a 2025 study, ChatGPT passed the test more reliably than actual humans did. Typically, you can interact with the painting, but the sound had been disabled, our guide told us, because it wouldn't stop eavesdropping on employees and then butting into their conversations. Elsewhere in the office, plaques, brochures, and merchandise displayed the words, "Feel the AGI." Oh my God. The phrase was originally associated with Sutskever, who used it to caution his colleagues about the risks of artificial general intelligence, the threshold at which machines match human cognitive capacities. After the blip, it became a cheerful slogan hailing a superabundant future. We met Altman in a generic-looking conference room on the 8th floor. People used to tell me about decision fatigue, and I didn't get it, Altman told us. Now I wear a gray sweater and jeans every day, and even picking which gray sweater out of my closet, I'm like, I wish I didn't have to think about that. Altman has a youthful appearance. He is slender with wide-set blue eyes and tousled hair, but he is now 40, and he and Mulhern have a 1-year-old son delivered by a surrogate. I'm sure, being president of the United States would be a much more stressful job, but of all the jobs that I think I could reasonably do, this is the most stressful one I can imagine, he said, making eye contact with one of us and then with the other. The way I've explained this to my friends is, this was the most fun job in the world until the day we launched ChatGPT. We were making these massive scientific discoveries. I think we did the most important piece of scientific discovery in, I don't know, many decades. He cast his eyes down, rather. And then, since the launch of ChatGPT, the decisions have gotten very difficult. Altman grew up in Clayton, Missouri, an affluent suburb of St. Louis. As the eldest of 4 siblings, his mother, Connie Gibstein, is a dermatologist. His father, Jerry Altman, was a real estate broker and a housing activist. Altman attended a Reform synagogue and a private preparatory school that he has described as not the kind of place where you would really stand up and talk about being gay. In general, though, the family's wealthy suburban circles were relatively liberal. When Altman was 16 or 17, he said he was out late in a predominantly gay neighborhood in St. Louis and was subjected to a brutal physical attack and homophobic slurs. Altman did not report the incident, and he was reluctant to give us more details on the record, saying that a fuller telling would make me look like I'm manipulative or playing for sympathy. He dismissed the idea that this event and his sexuality broadly was significant to his identity, but he said, probably that has some deep-seated psychological thing that I think I'm over, but I'm not, about wanting more conflict. Altman's attitude in childhood, his brother told The New Yorker in 2016 was, I have to win and I'm in charge of everything. He went to Stanford where he attended regular off-campus poker games. I think I learned more about life and business from that than I learned in college, he later said. All Stanford students are ambitious, but many of the most enterprising among them drop out. The summer after his sophomore year, Altman went to Massachusetts to join the inaugural batch of entrepreneurs at Y Combinator, a startup incubator co-founded by the renowned software engineer Paul Graham. Each entrant joined YC with an idea for a startup. Altman's batchmate included founders of Reddit and Twitch. Altman's project, eventually called Looped, was a proto-social network that used the locations of people's flip phones to tell their friends where they were. The company reflected his drive and a tendency to interpret ambiguous situations to his advantage. Federal rules required that phone carriers be able to track the locations of phones for emergency services. Altman struck deals with carriers to tap these capabilities for the company's use. Most of Altman's employees at Loop liked him, but some said that they were struck by his tendency to exaggerate, even about trivial things. One recalled Altman bragging widely that he was a champion ping pong player, like Missouri high school ping pong champ, and then proving to be one of the worst players in the office. Altman says that he was probably joking. As Mark Jacobstein, an older Looped employee who was asked by investors to act as Altman's babysitter, later told Keach Hagee for The Optimist, a biography of Altman, there's a blurring between, I think I can maybe accomplish this thing, and I have already accomplished this thing that's in its most toxic form leads to Theranos, Elizabeth Holmes' fraudulent startup. Groups of senior employees concerned with Altman's leadership and lack of transparency asked Loop's board on 2 occasions to fire him as CEO, according to Hagee. But Altman inspired fierce loyalty, too. A former employee was told that a board member responded, "This is Sam's company. Get back to fucking work." A board member denied that the attempts to remove Altman as CEO were serious. Loop struggled to gain users, and in 2012 it was acquired by a fintech company. The acquisition had been arranged, according to a person familiar with the deal, largely to help Altman save face. Oh. Still, by the time Graham retired from YC in 2014, he had recruited Altman to be his successor as president. "I asked Sam in our kitchen," Graham told The New Yorker, "and he smiled. It worked." I had never seen an uncontrolled smile from Sam. It was like when you throw a ball of paper into the wastebasket across the room. That smile. Altman's new role made him, at 28, a kingmaker. His job was to select the hungriest and most promising entrepreneurs, connect them with the best coders and investors, and help them develop their startups into industry-defining monopolies, while YC took a 6 or 7% cut. Altman oversaw a period of aggressive expansion, growing YC's roster of startups from dozens to hundreds. But several Silicon Valley investors came to believe that his loyalties were divided. An investor told us that Altman was known to make personal investments selectively into the best companies, blocking outside investors. Altman denies blocking anyone. Altman had worked as a scout for the investment fund Sequoia Capital as part of a program that involved investing in early-stage startups and taking a small cut of any profits. When Altman made an angel investment in Stripe, the financial services startup, he insisted on a bigger portion, galling Sequoia's partners, a person familiar with the deal said. The person added, "It's a policy of Sam first." Altman is an investor in, by his own estimate, some 400 other companies. Altman denies this characterization of the Stripe deal. Around 2010, he made an additional investment of $15,000 in Stripe, a 2% share. The company is now valued at more than $150 billion. This is very long, so I don't think I'm going to be able to get to all of this. Wait, let me just see how long it is. Oh, we're probably going to continue this, because I have a couple of other things I really want to share. And I'll link this archive article in the whatever. I'm going to try and watch the Audacity on AMC about tech bros. Ooh. Yeah, let us know what you think, Teresa. Yeah, we definitely need to. Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to go through some stuff because I do have other things I want to just make sure that we talk about. There's a report, this is from the Statesman, which I think is kind of janky. I'm not really sure what the deal is. This is from August of 2025, but I was looking at what is Pakistan's role in relation to Jared Kushner. That's where I started. I was like, has Jared Kushner had any Pakistan influence or anything in the past? Because he's there as part of the Islamabad talks, right? And we've talked at length about Jared and his entanglements, right? So I found this piece. It's not Jared, but report exposes Pakistan's dubious crypto deal with Trump's family venture, terror funding links. So there you go. There's something. This is from August of 2025. So keep that in mind. It's almost a year old. The United States has been steadily warming up to Pakistan over the last few months, and this engagement goes far beyond routine diplomacy. At the center of the shift lies a crypto deal, an arrangement that appears less like economic cooperation and more like a financial pact between the Trump's family crypto venture and Pakistan's military-linked funds, with a chain of controversial actors involved, according to a Thread report posted by Disinfo Lab. One of the key figures is Bilal bin Saqib, a British Pakistani entrepreneur who now serves as CEO of Pakistan's newly formed Crypto Council, as well as special assistant to the Prime Minister on blockchain. The connection worth noting is that Bilal is also an advisor to World Liberty Financial, the Trump family's crypto enterprise. World Liberty Financial is no ordinary crypto company. We've talked a lot about him. Eric Trump, Donald Trump Jr., and Jared Kushner together hold a 40% stake. Oh, I didn't know Jared was in that. Well, Donald Trump himself is listed as a co-founder emeritus because, we have to pay him under the table. The Pakistan World Liberty Financial deal was signed on April 26 amid heightened tensions between India and Pakistan. Yeah, listen. Just days earlier, on April 15th, World Liberty Financial had appointed Bilal as an advisor, and by May, he was also installed as CEO of the PCC. Wow. Do you think that... Okay, so listen. So on April 15th, World Liberty Financial appoints this guy from Pakistan, Bilal, as an advisor. On April 26, Pakistan and World Liberty Financial sign a deal about something crypto. And then in May, Bilal becomes CEO of that Pakistan Crypto Council. This is why I don't think Pakistan is not being altruistic when it comes to this, although I appreciate their honesty when it comes to the fact that Lebanon was involved in the original ceasefire plan, but whatever. This dual role places him at the heart of the arrangement, representing Islamabad's crypto vision while simultaneously serving the Trump family's interest in Washington, the report suggests. Hi, everybody. More corruption. By June, Bilal had already met with a wide range of political leaders and influencers, including Cynthia Lummis, the co-sponsor of the Bitcoin Act. She's the big crypto bitch in Congress. Senator Bill Hagerty of the Banking Committee, White House advisors, and New York City Mayor Eric Adams. Former New York City Mayor Eric Adams. During these meetings, he pitched Pakistan's crypto vision, all while maintaining his advisory position with World Liberty Financial. Yeah. The Disinfo Lab report, which I'll try and find that, also alleged that the crypto deal between Pakistan and World Liberty Financial opened avenues for money laundering and is even giving impetus to terror funding, with Binance providing the perfect incubator. Binance, a major global crypto trading platform, has long been surrounded by allegations of facilitating illicit financing. Yeah. Despite claiming to have cut ties with China, evidence continues to show that Binance's connections there. Its founder, Changpeng Zhao, widely known as CZ, has deep business links through his partner Yihei, who is vice president of Yixia Technology. Sorry, probably didn't say that right. A company partly owned by the CCP. Binance has made several investments in China, even while insisting on its independence. CZ himself has a history of legal trouble. He was sentenced to 4 months in prison for enabling money laundering that supported terrorist organizations. The U.S. Department of Justice, Treasury, and Commodity Futures Trading Commission collectively imposed a record $4.3 billion fine on Binance in November 2023. That was Joe Biden. After exposing how it funneled funds to Hamas, Al-Qaeda, and ISIS, processed $1.1 million worth of transactions with Iran in violation of U.S. sanctions, and failed to follow basic anti-money laundering protocols. Both CZ and Binance pled guilty, the report suggests. This was far from an isolated incident. Binance has faced allegations and investigations in multiple countries. In France, the government accused it of money laundering and terror financing. In India, the Financial Intelligence Unit fined Binance, that's not easy to say, 188 million rupees for money laundering violations. In Canada, the Financial Transactions and Reports Analysis Centre imposed a fine of around 6 million Canadian dollars on the platform. Despite this record, CZ emerged from his short prison term to become strategic advisor to Pakistan's Crypto Council. What? This move placed him directly alongside Bilal bin Saqib as the second pivotal figure in the Pakistan WLF crypto nexus. Zhao's extensive history of money laundering and terror financing allegations makes makes his new position all the more controversial. Disinfo Lab also points to Bilal's own network of questionable enterprises. Many of his companies are registered at the same address, have no active websites, and show no signs of financial transparency, hallmark of shell entities. His sister, Minahil, owns 75% of Tayaba UK, a company that partners with Al Mustafa Trust, AMT. While appearing as a charity, is widely believed to be a military slush fund controlled by retired personnel from Pakistan's Army, Navy, and Air Force. It is one of many Milbus ventures, military capital, that directly benefits Pakistan's officer class while staying at the official defense budget, the report stated. Since the crypto pact was formalized in May 2025, Washington and Islamabad have seen a visible upswing in ties. Pakistan's Army Chief Asim Munir visited the U.S. twice within 2 months. A string of new bilateral agreements was signed, and in a symbolic move, Pakistan even nominated Donald Trump for the Peace Prize. The convergence raises serious questions. Trump's crypto venture, Pakistan's shadowy military funds, and Binance's tainted legacy of terror financing have converged under the banner of crypto diplomacy. A convicted crypto mogul with ties to China, a political family enterprise, and Pakistan's military elite now form the core of this alliance. I'll find that. I want to find that report. Do they link it? Of course they don't. Okay, so what is it? It's the Disinfo Lab. I'm just going to look it up. Info Lab. I don't know if I've heard of them. Oh, EU Disinfo Lab. Is that the one? Wait, there's Disinfo Lab is a nonprofit too. Oh, interesting. Okay, wait a minute. Take a look at this. This is Disinfo Lab website. New year, new agenda. Deconstructing the narrative of transnational repression against India. It's interesting. Is this all about Pakistan? I don't even know. Wait, where am I? Oh my God. Okay. Countering disinformation. I need to read into this more. I'm going to take a look at this. I'm very interested to see what the deal is here. All right. Fair enough. Oh, I'm a little tired. My voice is starting to go. I think I might end it here. Sorry if I didn't complete anything. I feel like I didn't really complete anything today. But I think we read some really important things. We didn't even check the headlines. Wait, I should check the headlines before we go. Hold on. And I should check in with my beautiful chat. My beautiful chat. You guys are so beautiful. I don't even know where the screen is. What I do with the screen? There it is. Bye. Putin, what are you doing all the way over there? What happened? Why did you move? Putin's sneaking over into chat. Oh, you're so welcome. Slime in the ice machine line. You're so welcome. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much. Tonight is trivia. Okay, don't miss it. It's going to be amazing. Yeah. Oh, all right, love. So have a wonderful, if I don't see you tonight, have a wonderful Friday. I hope I see you tonight very much. And then tomorrow we're going to watch movies. I don't know what movie we're going to watch. We're going to have to choose. We're probably going to have to choose tonight when GP's here. Oh, yeah. Have a wonderful weekend. No 5/8 tonight. So we'll probably be watching at 5 p.m. They're going to have that. What was that thing we were talking about that they're going to do at 8 p.m.? Oh, the Splashdown. So I think I might do, maybe I'll come on early to do the Splashdown. I don't know. We'll see. Or we'll be in Discord watching it one way or another. All right. I love you guys. Thank you so much for coming. I'm Lolo. This has been Wake and Bake with Lolo, and we tried to educate you on, hopefully you learned one new thing today. At least one. All right. I'll see you in the Discords, and I'll also see you tonight for trivia, so don't miss it, really, please. I love you guys. Bye.